It's time for Mad Rewind, yeah, with your host, Brandee Stilwell.
Hello, and welcome to another episode of Mad Rewind. Things are already going off, going all haywire, because I'm really good at what I do here. I have no fucking idea what I'm doing. Anyway, this needed to be done. Someone needed to talk about MADtv, so why the fuck not me? Let's go! You guys are going... This is going to blow your mind. We have an amazing actress with us today. Let's just, I'm going to cut to the chase. Daniele Gaither. Hello, Danielle.
Hi, Brandee.
Thank you so much for coming.
You're welcome. Hi, everybody in MADtv land. Planet MADtv.
Planet MADtv. I'm gonna dive on in. Daniele Gaither officially joined the cast of MADtv in Season 9 as a featured player and became a main cast member in Season 10 for the next 2 seasons, appearing in 65 episodes over 3 seasons. Some of Danielle's original characters were weather reporter Miss Dilly Mae Jackson from 7 a.m. Condo Report. Fucking love 7 a.m. Condo Report.
So funny.
Steph Weir, when she would have her strokes and have to work through them.
And Ron and his scooter.
So good.
That was a funny one.
Danielle was also a swamp creature from Dr. Funkenstein, Loretta, the aggressive fast food worker from Taco Hell, Black Dallas cowboy cheerleader, and the monotone-speaking, revenge-seeking for mundane acts inconvenienced upon her, Yvonne Criddle. Danielle frequently did impressions of Little Kim, Raven Simone, Star Jones, Fantasia, Wanda Sykes, Oprah, and Beyonce, to name a few. After MADtv, Danielle appeared on Key and Peele, a Black Lady sketch show, Two Broke Girls, and the reoccurring character Super President Kickbutt on Nickelodeon's The Thundermans. Danielle has also voiced numerous animated characters on American Dad, Family Guy, Mike Tyson Mysteries, BoJack Horseman, and The Great North. She's a game-changing improviser as a member of the Black version show at the Groundlings, is featured in Rolling Stone magazine, Netflix's A Joke Festival, and the San Francisco Sketch Fest. Fans of MADtv, please welcome Daniele Gaither. Yay!
Thank you. Lovely to be here. Truly.
I stalk you whenever I can. I do. Anytime I'm like, oh, Black version, Monday night. Let me check my calendar. Yeah, I'll be there. The best. I'm just going to dive on in.
Go ahead.
Let's go, Danielle.
The water's fine.
When did you know you were funny?
Ooh. Probably when I would entertain my friends and then get sent to the principal's office for cutting up in school. So I remember having a Rod Stewart impression.
Ooh, can you still do it?
If you want my body. It involved me being on my knees, laying on my back in the hallway at school. And I also, and listen, I'm dating myself here, but I remember having a Jimmy Carter impression.
Can you still do it?
I, Jimmy Carter, do solemnly swear, because they let us out of class to go watch Jimmy Carter getting sworn in to the presidency. And it's like, oh, he talks interestingly. But I don't know that I necessarily thought, ooh, I'm funny. But I guess I also, in 6th grade, I got invited to a sleepover party, spontaneously at the last minute, because I did an impression of Sweet Daddy Williams from Good Times.
Can you do it?
Remember we said, hey, I want you to record a concert. Remember the episode? You can Google this, or whichever your search engine of your choice, that they all go to a Doobie Brothers concert and they do a bootleg recording. And so somehow I was on the playground talking about that, because why wouldn't you be? And the girl invited me to her slumber party, which was that night or that weekend. And I was new at that school, so she hadn't known me. So that was oh, okay, I guess people like impressions. But
So that was a captive audience for all the kids in the sleeping bag for you to
it was
work
oh,
your
you'll be
material on?
entertaining. You'll be entertaining at the slumber party. You're invited now. And I remember specifically, like, I don't have any cool pajamas, and somehow my mother went to Sears and bought me some, like, pajamas that weren't that cool, but they were okay, you know.
Did you have any family members that were funny that you looked up to?
Everyone in my family, yes, is, like, good at telling stories and doing impressions, I would say. You know, you'd be sitting around the living room and be recounting your day, and so you would kind of have to act out what ridiculous things people did or said. So that knack was kind of there. And also it was a time when the kids would come entertain company. You know, if like adults had other adults over, again, this probably, I don't know if this is a generational thing, if people still do this, but you'd literally be like, hey, kids, come put on a show.
Yeah.
And you would go in the living room and it's like, okay, we're doing the Nutcracker, or we're doing, you know, suffering through some, you know, I was always writing little like sketches on legal pads and doing puppet shows. So I was always like creative, but I don't know that I ever thought, I'm funny and going to do that for a living.
But even as a kid, did you have like a comedy hero that you like looked up to?
I remember, okay, like in terms of impressions, I remember Rich Little.
Oh.
Was always like, he was like the impressions guy. And then comedy-wise, I remember watching like the Honeymooners. My sister had discovered the Honeymooners, and so all of that classic TV, I watched so much TV. So we're talking Honeymooners, Benny Hill, of course, Carol Burnett's show. I feel like Benny Hill does. I forget about Benny a lot, but Benny taught us that, like, sometimes comedy is raunchy, and, you know, you might be in a bra and panties doing it. Of course, I Love Lucy. And then all of the Norman Lear sitcoms. And then Love Boat also. Because it's not just straight comedy. It's like understanding things that you will later be spoofing. You know, the schmaltz.
Yeah.
Comedy had a lot of schmaltz as well. It wasn't just strictly like, wah, wah. And did I say Carol Burnett show? Yeah, I used to watch that.
But did with like Fantasy Island, because it's kind of the same format.
Yeah,
of
well,
Love
see,
Boat.
Fantasy Island, I would fall asleep. Fantasy Island was past my bedtime, so I'd want to stay awake for that. And I would just make it through, da-dee-da. Like the waterfall would start, and I'd be like, yeah, I'm
The
sleepy.
planes coming in.
Yeah. But I watched that as an adult. Oh, my, talk about campy.
Oh, yeah.
It is amazing. And then, of course, that thing of, you know, you liked seeing people from shows that you knew branching out and playing other stuff.
Right.
Was always crazy.
So did you fall into the Saturday Night Live or SCTV or even like the
Yes.
late night Carson?
Yes, I remember. Oh, I remember. I had a Joan Rivers. Can we talk? I remember having a Joan Rivers impression because I would watch that too when she'd be subbing. And then Saturday Night Live, the same thing. It was like a little past my bedtime. I never understood why it was funny. I only understood on the surface level, like, oh, you know, it's Gumby, or like, it's the cone heads are funny because their heads are shaped like cones. I didn't understand they're making a comment on consumerism in America. I didn't understand why Father Guido Sarducci was funny until I was an adult. You know, so much of it was over my head. But even then I knew, like, I remember the Eddie Murphy and Joe Piscopo doing the Ebony and Ivory.
Oh.
Like, well, let's redo it. And he's like, you are black, and I am white. Life's an Eskimo pie, so let's take a bite. So I had some understanding of, like, why that was funny. I mean, I knew Eddie Murphy was funny. And then I do think there was something called Not Necessarily the News.
Yeah.
But I don't know if that was SCTV
God, what
or was that its own entity. Because there was a brief stint when I was living in a household that actually had cable. We never had cable growing up. Not because we couldn't afford it, just because it was like, that seems newfangled. Like, I grew up not having cable television, which seems so crazy to me. So that also made me significantly less, like, up to date on, like, what was going on MTV or all that kind of stuff.
So were you like the popular kid because you were funny?
I wouldn't say popular because I wasn't a jock. I was definitely more a drama theater person, but I was also on the gymnastic team, so I could kind of float. But I mostly was friends with the theater kids.
Okay.
For sure.
So that brings me to tell me about your comedy education journey, and then also who pointed you in that direction.
Okay, so I went to college at Northwestern thinking, because I did musical theater. I mean, I did also like normal plays in high school, but I thought, well, I'm going to do musical theater because that's what I did in high school because they'd always have the spring musical. And like even 7th grade, 8th, all through 7th grade on up, I'd always be like some big part of the musical because I could sing and like carry a tune in a bucket. So, I mean, I'd be like in 7th grade playing a 40-year-old woman and doing no research and having no idea what I was singing about. But I thought for sure that's what I'm going to do. And then I got to college, had an audition for Chicago. It was a disaster. And then I thought, well, I guess I'm not good at that anymore. And then my friend was like, oh, we saw this show. You'd be really funny in it. It's an improv show. So I went out for that. And once I got on the Meow show at Northwestern, it was like, oh, these are my people. I'm home. You're doing sketch. You're doing improv. But some reason when I moved here, I thought I should be on a procedural drama. Like I still wasn't making the connection. You do sketch, you do improv. People will pay you to do that. You're not going to get sent to the principal's office. They'll pay you to do that. And so I randomly one day was shopping on Melrose Avenue, and the parking spot I got was in front of the Groundlings. And I'd already heard of it because every time you took an improv class anywhere, or I had done improv with my friends from college, we did like little shows, everyone would bring up the Groundlings, usually with contempt. Usually there'd be and Groundlings, there'd be a reluctant like, oh, I mean, I saw Chris Kattan there, but you'd always hear like, oh, Will Ferrell like showed up at the Groundlings. You know, it was, you love it or hate it, you knew that it was an institution to be reckoned with. So I was like, okay, I'll sign up. And then that just helped like get the rough edges off. And because before that, I had gone to the cattle call. They were having a cattle call for the last season of Living Color.
Okay.
In Living Color, not the band, the TV show.
Right.
And it was like, because it was just back when I was like, I don't have an agent. Let me just, the crazy auditions that I went on when you're just like grasping at anything to try to make it in LA. And I remember going to the cattle call wearing like shorts and cowboy boots with these big long braids, and everyone in line was like, oh, are you going to be are you going out for the Fly Girls? Are you a Fly Girl? And then I did a few little kind of characters, and she gave me, I got to the second round. Mm-hmm. I think it was Kim Coleman casting it, and she's like, okay. She's like, don't do the Valley Girl, I'll move you on. So it's like the fact that I even had a Valley Girl in the mix, like I was very green, I didn't know what I was doing, but I had like a bits and a piece of a character, and one of those characters basically became Loretta from Taco Hell. So the nuggets of like, okay, these are the characters or these are these people, they just needed to be polished, the diamond in the rough, and also take some acting classes. So there was a long way that I still had to go to just polish up your act, like they used to say. And so pretty much just doing Groundlings, and then, like I said, flopping around and doing various whatever projects with my friends and stuff, and then joining every sketch group possible. I was in Groundlings and in another sketch group. And then that's how I got the one sketch show that David Saltzman was producing. And then I think that's how I got the MADtv.
Was that the Rerun show?
The Rerun show,
okay.
Yes. That was like the second thing I had done, and David Saltzman was involved in that because that was all impressions.
And you played Kim Fields as Tootie.
I played Kim Fields as Tootie on MADtv. Strangely, on the Rerun show, I was not Tootie. I was like saleswoman which is crazy because I did Tootie at the audition. I'm pretty sure I did Tootie at a few auditions. Mm-hmm. Mrs. Garrett! Because I always had a Tootie.
Right.
And then, but there was another girl in the show, Candy Ford, who played Tootie. But I played like Florence from the Jeffersons and Wheezy from the Jeffersons.
George!
That was a very fun audition process.
George! I've got a surprise for you. You've lost your partner.
Yeah, because it's like one where George gets into disco dancing. And then
Helen's given up disco.
And because that was the audition piece, I still remember that, because Paul Vogt was there.
Oh, yeah.
Paul Vogt.
And Paul Vogt ended up doing the Rerun show as well.
Paul Vogt was, yes.
He was Mrs. Garrett.
Yes, and he was hilarious. And, of course, he was on. So I remember we were all at, like, the network test, and Paul Vogt had a red wig on. And it was like the whole room was like, okay, that is Mrs. Garrett. And he's like, yeah, I just had my downstairs neighbor like whip up something to help sell the idea that, I'm this woman. And so anyway, I got off track, but point being that it was a journey to then like, oh, okay, MADtv is the sketch show that's gonna be around a while versus like the Rerun show was just kind of like a, hey, fun, limited kind of a thing.
Mm-hmm.
And the other show I was on for like a season.
Okay. Now, when you were auditioning and when you first moved out here, were you on your own, like doing this by yourself, or did you kind of have a group of friends that were?
I had a group of friends
navigating this with?
Yeah, I had a group of friends. None of us knew what we were doing, but we all had each other.
Okay.
And then through that network, Nicole Sullivan had gone to Northwestern, and she was on MADtv already. And so that was like a network that helped a lot of us get into the world of MADtv because Nicole was like looking out for us and telling them about us. So that helped a lot for sure.
She's the freaking best. I love her. So I'm just going to jump ahead a little bit.
Because I'm babbling.
No, not at all. I'm absorbing, and I hope the audience is absorbing too, because I also want this podcast to be educational. I mean, even if you are plowing a field in Kansas, I want you to be able to be like, oh, these were my funny shows too that I enjoyed.
Yes.
Or, hey, I always thought it was funny too. Maybe I should start this journey.
Yes,
it's
for
never
sure,
too late.
for sure.
I want to say Leslie Jones from Saturday Night Live that, she didn't, chances of me being completely wrong about this are great, but I want to say she didn't land SNL until she was 47. So there's never, it's never too late. And I'm here, so it's never too late. Or maybe it is. I'm going to be put out in pastures soon. Who knows? But it's my understanding that you appeared as an under 5 in the second season of MADtv. Would you mind sharing that?
Yes, okay.
Yeah, share that story with me.
Okay, so that was a case of, it was totally Nicole Sullivan oriented. They were doing an episode that was a live taping, and Debra Wilson was doing this part originally, but she had to make some kind of makeup change, or she didn't have time. They weren't going to be able to change her into the other character. So it's like, you know what? She doesn't need to say 5 lines or fewer in that one sketch. Cast an outside person. So there were 2 of us. One person had already been cast. And so I got a call from our mutual friend who was like, they're looking for someone on MADtv. Yes, have them, So then the casting department called me. And they were like, yeah, it's like a 70s, like, are you kidding me? Speaking of things I've watched, all those blaxploitation movies, are you kidding me? Of course, I know Shaft, I know Foxy Brown, I know Coffee, I know Friday Foster, all of them, all the Pam Grier stuff. So I was like, okay, 70s. And she's like, think more bodycon is more important than the 70s. Because we were playing what they now call sex workers. So I was like, okay, I got that. So I had, once again, my trusty Daisy Dukes. Trusty Daisy Dukes. It was the 90s. I don't know what shoe I wore. I had like a silver bikini top with a mesh white shirt over it. Like, it was the 90s. So that took the pressure off me. And then when I showed up, and I think this was still at Renmar Studios.
Okay.
And so there was like a courtyard where everyone else was like, had an afro wig and like, like their 70s kind of bell-bottoms look. And then went up there, it was literally 2 lines. Hush your mouth, we can dig it. And it was just like, okay, just go in there and kind of roll around in your, Daisy Dukes. And then it's like, you got it. And it was so fun. The whole process was super fun. And, the fitting, overshadowed by the fact that I'm pretty sure that was like Tupac had been murdered at that time. Like, I literally remember being at
in that
downer
time
moment.
Oh.
I remember being at lunch, and it was like, Tupac didn't make it, you guys.
Oof.
Bummer.
Oh.
But the taping itself was fun, and so I was like, woo, good thing I'm in sketch comedy and not rap,
Yeah,
because I feel like, there was a lot of denigration of, I think, like, I feel like sketch comedy in general and improv has gotten a lot cooler it's gotten a lot more cachet. But I always felt like, comedy in general, maybe people underestimate that it's actually a skill or it's an art form. And it's seen as like, it's really easy or meaningless, when the opposite is true.
Did you audition at all between season 2 and then when you finally came to MADtv?
At one point, they did bring me in, but I don't remember when it was.
Okay.
And I don't remember. I remember like doing some sides and saying one word and then being like, I'm going to stop you, which is, of course, the kiss of death in any audition. But I can't, that might have been before the under 5.
Okay.
Actually, yeah.
Well, then let me cut. I'm going to jump ahead to season 9 where you auditioned to be on MADtv. Can you tell me what the audition process was like? And do you remember what characters you came in with?
I barely remember. I remember like going over to Hollywood Center Studios, as it was known at the time. There were 20 million people there. And going in, I remember wearing Frankie B jeans, and it was like them just sitting on a couch. And like I said, I already knew David Saltzman. I don't remember. I might have done Florence. Any of these auditions, you go in, I probably had my set stuff. So I had like my mom character. I had my lady that ended up becoming Loretta character. I probably did Tootie because it took 5 seconds. I probably did Oprah. I probably did, whatever other celebrity impressions. Don't 100% remember. And then they'll start pitching you stuff. Oh, can you do this? Oh, do you also do that? Hey, didn't you do this? And then you're like, oh, yeah, and you end up doing other stuff. So it was pretty quick, pretty painless. And then the next round, I remember, obviously the final round was over at Sony, and it's a blur.
How much time did you have in front of the producers? Was it like you have 5
get like
minutes?
5 minutes or less.
Or less,
Yeah, It's
okay.
like, listen, all of these, it's like go in and do 2 minutes and don't push, don't run the light, don't overstay your welcome, get in and get out, And so
That is valuable information to share with people because someone is always going to try and take more to put on their plate, and it drives me nuts.
It's so infuriating. It's like all you're doing is making them like you less and showing that you can't take direction and showing that you're like egocentric or whatever.
So now that you were cast on MADtv, you became the second Black female cast member of the show's history, and you replaced Debra Wilson. And you also replaced some of her staple characters like Oprah. So was there a weight on your shoulders to replace someone iconic like Debra Wilson, or were you just like, this is mine now and I have this?
It was definitely weird. It's like, and I get it. When they replace your favorite actor, you're like, who is this?
Mm-hmm.
That, when Farrah left Charlie's Angels and it was her younger sister, it's like, yeah, I never liked her as much as Farrah. But so I understood. I mean, now mind you, I already, quote, had an Oprah and had done Oprah on the pilot of a sketch show that I did on the WB network.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like anyone, if you're a certain age, gender identity and whatever, you're going to have certain people in your corral. Like everyone of a certain range is going to do Oprah because she's so iconic and she's the gift that keeps on giving. She's always got
Very
something
true.
going on. I love bread! She's always got something crazy going on. So, but yeah, I totally understood that, like, okay, people are going to hate me and I'm going to be judged. And that feeling kind of never went away. I only did her once for the you get a car. But also, I get it because, I'm sorry, the Oprah slimming camera sketch is one of the funniest sketches of all time and was amazing. And so, people feel their loyalty to people or whoever. I'm sure there was a lot of resentment just going around in general, but it's not like I was like, I'm going to elbow Debra out of the way. And I think probably Debra, resented me for a while, but doesn't anymore. And I know Aries resented me for sure. He was very protective, but we never did any of the sketches that they did. Like, we never did Real Motherfucking Talk. that sort of left when Debra left.
Okay.
And then after me, I mean, there's that moment where it's like, hey, you're training your own replacement. Because then it was like, hey, here's Nicole Randall Johnson. Like, okay, so she's going to be the new black girl because there's only one, you know? So it's like, and then, you know, then she became, then Erica Ash, then DeHaley Hall, you know, like, then they just, it's like, hey, you're going to replace it. Welcome to Hollywood, you know?
How did you deal with that mentally, though? Was there, because, you know, you're the new kid on the block.
Yeah.
And you have weight. And was it just something you're like, you just did it and you went through the motions?
It definitely sucked, but it's like, you know, you always are compartmentalizing. So whatever your emotions are about something, it's like, okay, you do your job because you're a professional and know that you're going to be compared and know that you're going to be judged, and you're just kind of like okay with all of it. I mean, this is like a little off topic, but speaking of weight, I remember one of the sketches was a roast of Rosa Parks. And I was like, literally had to mentally prepare myself. I was like, okay, how am I going to do this? All right, okay, Rosa Parks, she's that and then it's like Rosa Parks, in the end, it's actually brilliant because, you know, roasts have just continued to be a thing.
Mm-hmm.
And in the end, Rosa, of course, gets the last word on all of them and tells everybody off. But I'm like, I literally remember thinking, this is what I will say if CNN makes a thing of it. Like, as long as you're like, I know how I would explain, like, this is my job. But I did worry, you know, kind of about that one too, more than the Oprah thing. And I think over time, it lessened because, like I said, I think I only played Oprah that one time.
Okay.
Yeah. So it wasn't like, here we go again. And I never got hate mail or anything like that. Like, it wasn't that dramatic, but I definitely was like, here we go.
Well, I'm glad you didn't get hate mail.
Yeah.
Things are different
Yes.
these days. Would you mind doing a few of your voices of some of your MADtv characters, like Loretta from Taco Hell, and explain where that character came from? Now, you said that she showed up in some of your auditions earlier. Can you just explain where she came from?
Yeah, I had a character named Cricket she's sort of a savant of the criminal justice system, having been justice system involved. So it's like, hey, you know, no filter, don't take no wooden nickels. Hey, Jose, what you doing in there? Because she'd always be on a smoke break, you know? And it's like, it's Taco Bell. You know, this is the job you're getting at. This is the upgrade from, you know, this is the job your, like, parole officer or whatever helped you get. You're working at Taco Bell. It doesn't matter that it's not an authentic chalupa. So I remember that this is a chalupa is a small boat. It's like, yeah, man, just shoot some of that green stuff in it. Damn, let me have another smoke break. And then that one was fun. And then she had this great red spiky. The wigs were always so amazing on this show. You know, like, shout out to wig department, hair department, always on point.
Matthew Katzen.
Yes.
Do you have a process in creating a character?
Okay. Not like one that's like step 1, step 2, step 3, but in general, being observant is what it all boils down to. I always, first of all, being as a children should be seen and not heard kind of. So as a child, whether I would be in a black church or the beauty shop, you did not speak. You were like, or even the family living room, it's like you sit there, so you're just absorbing all of these characters. The guy, like, you'd be at the shop, and the guy who's like, hey, man, I got these jumpsuits. And then, what size is it? She's like, everybody in here wears size 16 and up. Sarah Rubin, proprietor. You know, like, okay, she's a character, you know, just listening to people and watching their movements. And then the getting them down to, like, what is their essence and what makes them tick and repeating that. Mm-hmm. That's a huge part of it, is like, oh, okay, let me boil down this person to the essence of what they are and heighten one aspect of what they are. And that's part of it. But it could come through, sometimes you see like a costume. Or, you put a wig on and it's like, oh, this is this person. Mm-hmm. You know, it can come through many different ways, but the crux of, like, where it's where it's coming from is like you've absorbed it like a sponge, and now you're just putting it back out.
When we were talking, we talked a little bit before you came in about, you said something about a remote shoot that MADtv did at the Billboard Awards.
Oh, yes.
At the MGM Grand in Vegas. Would you mind sharing that with me?
Yes, okay. I thought about that the other day because I was doing this gig and I'm like, I need a phone. And I have a Nokia? It was a swag that I got from, I think it was the Billboard Music Awards. It was a Nokia Hello Kitty phone that I've kept all these years. And when I look back on that, like that's one of those experiences that, because when like I said, I compartmentalize. So, and I'm focused. So I'm sure other people would be like, are you kidding me? I'm going to the MGM Awards. Who cares about the sketch? Like you can do that in your sleep, like have fun, party, meet people. So I definitely remember, it was just a lot of us being like hustled and kind of wrangled. So it's like, oh, there's Boys to Men walking through the, volume of the theater. And then Lil Jon for sure I saw. And it was like, I did like, oh my God. And I still love him, so I was like, oh yeah, acknowledge him. Chingy definitely was like, looked me up and down. I like the way you do that right there. Remember that song? So that's the era. We are literally talking apple bottom, it was that era. But it was also happening like I'm pretty sure I saw Paris Hilton maybe, but it was just a lot of being swept here, being swept there. We were doing a bit from Total Request Live because we used to do it on Mad. So Bobby Lee was Suchin Pak.
Okay.
I was Lala before she married Carmelo Anthony. And Stephanie Weir was Anna Nicole Smith because this was during the Trim Spa Baby era. Mm-hmm. And it was us I remember us being at the rehearsal. And first of all, we had a different stage manager, so I was a little bit unsure. Like, AJ was such a good stage manager.
He was a fine-oiled machine.
Yes. And
that
I had
conveyor
also
belt
worked,
moved.
I had worked with him on Hype as well. So it's like I knew him so well, and you never missed that signal, But at the Billboard, I was like, okay, I think that was meant go. I felt a little bit off. And it was such a quick throw. But at the rehearsals, somebody came in and they were all wrapped up like a mummy with sunglasses. And they were like, oh, there was this like whisper that went through the room. I think it was Alicia Keys maybe. But yeah, it's like all I knew was like, okay, hit your mark and do the bit and do your thing. And then you're getting whisked in and whisked out. And we went into a swag room where we got all this stuff. But I'm like, oh, and I think we were only there for a day. Mm-hmm. But it's like, wow, what a whirlwind that was. And maybe I could have appreciated that more. Or same thing when we'd have people on the show, too. It's like, because like you said, I had forgotten about that. When I first started, you get a trailer.
Yeah.
You're like, here's your little trailer because you're not officially a full-time cast member yet. So you'd be like, do your stuff on the stage and then go outside and walk into the trailer. And it was like, they were having a musical guest, so I think it was like, I know Nate Dogg was among them, and it was like 6 dudes walking, and they definitely did the kind of thing, and I'm like, I am a single woman, and I'm also not a full-time employee. I am not hanging out with a bunch of gentlemen who reek of cannabis smoke at this time. That would not be a good professional move. But then later I'm like, why didn't I talk to Nate Dogg?
Yeah.
Why didn't I? And it's like, because you're professional and you had a job to do, and you're not supposed to be socializing, you're supposed to be working.
Mm-hmm. I hate having to play the professional card. I've had to play that so many times in my life. And then, Monday morning quarterbacking of like, why didn't I had a chance and I blew it. We have arrived at my sponsorship portion of the podcast for The Crow. There's a really great comedy club in Santa Monica called The Crow, located at the Bergamont Station Arts Center. It also happens to be a super inclusive 501c3 nonprofit theater. The Crow is one of those spaces that uses comedy and storytelling for good. I highly recommend catching a show, a class, an open mic, or even enrolling your kids in their summer comedy camp. No matter your age, there is a space there for you with their full comedy school for not only adults, but they also have comedy classes for teens and kids, too. Or maybe you just want to go see a hilarious show in one of their 2 theaters with a no-drink minimum, like so many other clubs have around town these days. It super sucks. You can drink as much as you want or nothing at all. Or just get a Scooby snack. No one's going to control you. So please visit crowcomedy.com for classes, shows, and tickets. I was sponsored, Danielle.
No, that's nice. That's so funny you said that because, you were talking about early acting experiences. And I remember I was 12 years old and they were having like an acting class at the library that was like basic theater skills or whatever. And I walked up there because my mom would never drive me to anything, unless it was like, I'm not driving. How you going to get there? So then that was another character that I had, too, that was all based on like a crazy experience. Like my mother driving us to see Dreamgirls because she agreed to do that, but it involved a very harrowing drive through downtown Minneapolis that became a sketch that I did. But I remember like walking up to the library and doing this little theater class and then they had a performance at the end, but I couldn't do it because I was going on a school trip. And there was like palpable disappointment in the teacher's face. And because I was the only one that was kind of getting like, hey, play with space. Like we had to pass like an invisible ball.
Yeah.
And I was the only one who like pretended it changed weight and made it heavy.
Right, yeah.
Which is totally something you'll do if you go to like Groundlings audition, Yeah. Just like being creative and being in the moment and using your space is very important.
Or Second City tape ball.
Oh, yeah.
Lots of tape ball. No, I just remember one of the first improv teams I was on. And this just sounds so ridiculous because, I was on the boys' baseball team when, I'm from Kansas. And the school that I went to, we didn't have a softball team at the time. And I would literally be changing clothes behind a tractor surrounded by cows in a pasture. And then I would go perform play baseball. Poorly. And it wasn't until years later I was on this team called Vicious, and I had never been around theater kids before. And we're all changing, and I'm, like all modest and everything, and nobody gave a shit.
Yeah.
And that was so freeing. It sounds so dumb.
No, it's true.
But it was so freeing that there were gays, there were gay kids, lesbian kids, straight, fat, like, me, the fat kid, nobody cared. Nobody cared. And it rearranged my brain a little bit to like not care about those little things and I could go worry about other things on stage. Yeah,
I'm still like that now where it's like, oh, I'm a theater person. I don't care if you're like, oh, let me give you some. It's like, I'm a theater person. It's fine. You can say, it's more like, are you going to be horried?
Yeah.
But, I'm fine.
Check out my cellulite.
Right now.
I'm okay with it. Back to Mad. Did you have a favorite moment or moments that still stand out to you from the show all these years later?
Okay, meeting Flavor Flav.
Okay.
And because he turned out like Flav, I feel like got a lot of ridicule back in the day, but what a mensch he turned out to be, right?
Oh my God,
thank
especially
you.
for women.
Thank you.
He is a fucking treasure
Yes.
at what he has done for women's sports. Thank you.
So
Flavor
he
Flav.
was on an episode guest starring, and I don't think this was a live taping. And he had already kind of met with them and been like, these are my parameters or whatever. This was the same episode that had the Oprah thing in it.
Okay.
Because I remember him later, when I got his autograph, which I still have on my refrigerator. I dug it out the other day when the whole Olympics thing, I was like, I have Flav's autograph around here somewhere.
Yeah.
And anyway, so it's like a live taping, and we were all back in our dressing room. So we had monitors backstage so you could keep abreast of like, your entrance is coming up, get ready. And all of a sudden, you just felt this disruption in the force where it was like, did he just yell cut? All of a sudden, he's like, no, we can't, we gotta cut this right here. We gotta cut this right here. And then the screen, I just saw like 3 pairs of chinos with whatever sneaker that like the directors were wearing back then. It was like the director and the producers and whatever and their chinos and their low-pro sneakers. What's the problem? And he's like, I already told you, man. Jermaine Jackson, I'm in the studio with him. No Jackson jokes, do-do-do-do. And that wasn't in the script. He had told the producers, I'll do it, but don't make any, like, Jermaine Jackson jokes. And then Aries was like, I'm going to go off script and do a little improv. Because what's he going to do? Stop a live taping? And it's like, yeah, Flav is like, I'm Flavor Flav. I will stop a live taping. And you will shuffle over in your little chinos and be like, okay, we'll reset it. Like no one who was, if someone who was like a regular cast member had ever been like, oh, I'm going to stop during the middle of a live taping, like no one would ever do that. And we were all backstage like, oh, what the hell is happening? Oh, this is crazy. And then I guess they did resume it, and I guess they did work it out. And then so later I saw Flav backstage. I was like, oh, can I get your autograph? And now when I had been Oprah, you know, you have downtime, right? And so the audience, I was like, oh, I had the microphone. I'm pretending this water bottle is a microphone. And I was like, like I pretended to see if I could fit it in my mouth. Like, Flav, I was like, oh, can I get, he's like,
You the one with the microphone, right?
I'm like, now of all the things for him to focus on, like that was a split second. I can't even believe that you saw that and let alone remembered that. But I was like, yeah, that was me. And then I forget what he wrote in, like, hey, he wrote something, yeah, sis. It had the word sis. Hey, sis, whatever, the Flavor Flav, woo, woo, you know, the autograph. And that was memorable. And then it's just kind of an everyday remembrance, but the catering. Cooking with Lenny, you get so spoiled.
Oh, yes.
Of just like, oh, there's going to be multiple salads and pastas and fruits and desserts. I remember somebody from the crew once being like, tri-tip again? And then when you're off, you're like, oh, I have to feed myself. Oh, remember this Lady Solve had gone missing. Remember Lady Solve, love me or hate me, that is the question. If you like me, then thank you. If you don't me, then fuck you. Love me or hate me, that is the question. She was like this British rapper, I guess. And at some point, it was like, Lady Solve has gone missing. But they found her like behind a tree or something. But honestly, I was a person who I was always like, okay, let me go in my room. And either A, I was sleeping. Or B, working on my lines. You know, I was always in work mode, so I always feel like I was never up on the gossip or like super social.
Yeah. I was in post.
Yeah.
I was in post fighting scurvy.
Yeah.
Never seeing daylight. Did you have a favorite cast member to work with?
I really liked working with pretty much everybody. I mean, I guess it was fun working with Paul again because we had done the Rerun show and doing the Fantanas. Remember the Fantanas?
Don't you want...
Need a Fanta, don't you want the one? Because we couldn't do the real music. Greg O'Connor, genius, was the composer, and every parody, like, they sounded very close, but they were not. You know, they were not the song. And so Fontana's was always fun. But everybody, you know, that's the thing. By the time you get to that point, everyone there gets it. Everyone is fun, and everyone is like a professional at the top of their game. So you're just going to work and just cracking up. So then, but I also liked all of the other, like I spent a lot of time hanging out in the stage manager's department.
Okay.
Because they'd be like, oh yeah, come lie down on our couch. If you're like, especially like, I'm in costume, but you know, you spend a lot of time waiting. It's like Ron Peterson would say that quote of, I act for free. I get paid to wait, right? You get paid to wait. You act for free. So with the downtime, to just keep yourself, I would go bug the wardrobe department. I would go bug the cutter. David was the cutter. And so like you mentioned that sea creature costume. Like I want to see, what do you work, you know, because it's like, what is it? What's going to be? Oh, you're putting this there. Oh, that's going to be a fan. Oh, I love these fabrics. Like, I always love seeing clothes made.
And was that David Wallace? Okay.
And I think he later went on to do, like, Dance with the Stars. And, like, I'm like, I hope I'm not bugging you. And he didn't seem to mind, you know? So it's like, oh, this is, like, fun for me. Oh, look at the trims. Look at the notions. Look at the everything that goes behind it. Because especially when you've done a lot of sketch comedy on your own, okay? When you're like, let me go to the thrift store and find this great thing. And, oh, okay, I drove and got this fun wig. Or when you've done it all, that's the difference of stepping in and being on a professional thing where it's like, they have people that do that for you and do it really well. And they also have budgets, you know, so that part of it I always found got me like in the process and was more interesting to me than, you know, sitting in my room, I guess.
Now, you had also mentioned to me that you hung out in Ike Barinholtz.
Oh, yes.
In his room.
Ike, of course, his room was like where we would hang out on tape nights.
Okay.
Like for some reason, he had a fridge.
You didn't have a fridge?
I don't know if I had a fridge, but he had like a fully stocked
Fancy Ike with a fridge?
Ike and his mini fridge, and so that was where we would all kind of sit on like tape nights to just again like keep each other company or whatever. Parker and I would kind of hang out and just have like dumb like inside jokes and bits we would do. I remember we all got Secret Santas once. And like Keegan, I was really into tabloids then because tabloids were like kind of fun then still.
Yeah.
And Keegan got me a subscription to Star Magazine. So we could keep track of like who got an iced, blended and what engagement ring were they wearing at the time.
And who was abducted.
Yeah.
Did you spend time together outside of the show and like do shenanigans and stuff?
We would
no?
sometimes go out for like, and I think Ike also initiated that. Like we would go out for like appetizers or we would go out for like happy hour sometimes. And it's like, okay, I remember going to a place because Ike is very foodie, and so he was like, oh, we'll have 3 orders of the Moroccan cigars and 2. I would always get the avocado egg rolls. That was like my thing. But he would order he's like, I worked in food service, I think he said. So he was the king of like order tons of appetizers, for the whole table.
Did you keep anything from the show? And if so, what was it? And do you still have it?
I didn't really have a lot of I don't really have a lot of stuff from the show. I do remember getting an alarm clock that was a really like high tech. It was either
from like the studio
from like
or
Sharp,
something?
yeah. Because listen, they always give you a gift that's like, don't be late. But they'll be like, here's a nice pillow and a nice blanket. Like I think I had a robe. I had like I have a monogrammed towel. I do have a monogrammed towel which has holes in it, and I'm like, let it go, girl, let it go. But it's like, it's my MADtv towel with my name on it. And you realize because they don't want your stuff to get lost in the laundry. Like every gift you get has actually a very practical purpose. So yeah, I guess I do have an old ratty towel. The alarm, it was like an alarm clock that also had color gradation when it would wake up, and you could put it on like fireplace or rainstorm or different sounds. And so I have only bought that type of alarm clock since then.
Okay.
I will say for sure.
Nice. Do you still perform? Or are you in touch with other cast and crew members?
I'm still in touch with Bruce, who was a writer on the show. I knew Bruce before the show, and I'm friends with him now still.
And he's executive producer of RuPaul's Drag Race.
Yes.
He gets brought up frequently.
Oh, does he? Okay, I didn't know if you wanted to be name checked. Yes.
Yeah.
Because we had done improv in college together. We were in that crazy little group together. And pretty much just Bruce, and then other people I just see online.
But you
nothing
see Phil
real.
Lamar.
I do see Phil, but Phil and I were never on it at the same time.
But you guys are in the black version
We
together.
are in the black version, and then Key and Peele. I saw them, but it's interesting that MADtv has had a lot of black actors over the years, but we've kind of never been on it at the same time, other than me and Keegan and Jordan.
Okay.
And usually Keegan and Jordan were in sketches together.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like,
But
I was never on it with Orlando, or so the idea of like, oh, what would that like Orlando, Phil, Keegan, Jordan, me, and then all the women you mentioned, like we were pretty spread out.
We need to fix this. We're going to fix this. I promise you that you just gave me an idea. I will put a black version together of
MADtv.
not the black version of the Groundlings, but I will put something together where y'all are on stage together because you need to be. I can only imagine the magic in that bottle.
Can you imagine? Oh, what was funny though? Because I did have a friend who worked in the art department.
Mm-hmm.
This was like back in '96, back before I was on it. And so I was actually at the premiere of the pilot at Hollywood Athletic Club.
Okay.
Yeah, I do remember that because it was like, oh, you guys want to go? Like the fact that they were just inviting like a +1 of a PA from the art department, they wanted to fill that room. And even though like I remember Quincy Jones being there, and I guess that would have been Fax and Adam.
Mm-hmm.
And They had it on a big screening, and it was and you know that thing of executives are not watching the show; they're watching the audience watching the show.
Right.
So there's a lot of nerve. Like, okay, is this going to be a hit? Is this gonna? And it was so funny and looked amazing because back in the beginning, you know, MADtv was like it's on film because to distinguish itself from other sketch shows, it's like, hey, this isn't live, so we have time to do this on film. And then there was that spy versus spy animated segment. Like it kind of had some more elements of the magazine kind of in the beginning.
And the claymation.
And the claymation, yes,
and so we were
yes.
pre-tape,
Oh my God, it had
but we
the
also had
Rudolph.
the film pieces and then the pre-tape, and then we would play back the pre-tapes to the live audience like every other week to get the laugh track.
Yes. So it was, I remember from the pilot, there was a sketch. I think it was a bumper. Remember the Budweiser commercials? Budweiser. There were like 3 frogs. There was one about McDumpsters.
McDumpsters was in the pilot.
McDumpsters was one of the funniest sketches of all time. It's hilarious.
And then going back to the Budweiser, we had to call it Vud, V-U-D, Budweiser, you know, for legal reasons.
Yes. Yes, good old standards and practices, which, you know, we need it. You need it because people will go too far and you can't just do anything on TV.
Right.
You do need limits.
You have to have some kind of standards.
Yeah.
Do you have any advice for anyone starting out in comedy today?
Ooh, well, be perseverant and be patient and polish your act for sure. And I guess, you know, that's very kind of general advice, but those would be the 3 things. And then also be honest with yourself. Like, I think some people are like, because they see it as a glide path, you know, like, and I get it. Like I said, I didn't know what I was doing. It's like, I'm going to go out there. Like, it's right in front of your nose. Just do comedy. But I think some people are like, if I do this, then that guarantees that I will then be cast on that. And then from there, like, you can't necessarily, what you are envisioning or how you're plotting your career will go. Sometimes your idea, usually your idea, isn't as good as what the universe can do.
Right.
So you kind of have to like also get out of your own way and do it because you love it, not do it because you see it as leading to something, you know? Because then that's like, well, you're not really in it. If your heart isn't in it, you will not be able to have the perseverance. You will not be able to survive the rejection and the embarrassment that comes along the way of you making a fool of yourself. Like, you're never going to be, you know, like, you're not going to be cute. It's like, oh, that person you have a crush on is coming to the show. They're going to see you looking stupid and making a fool of yourself. So don't worry about being cute. Don't try to be cute on stage. Don't try to be pretty on stage. Just be funny.
Yeah.
Or be honest. Comedy is truth, you know.
Truth in comedy.
Truth in comedy.
Do you have any parting words for fans of MADtv?
Oh, my gosh. Well, thank you, first of all. Because I tend to forget or not realize how popular the show was. And especially it was popular with, like, a lot of Mexicans and Mexican-Americans. And so I remember, like, I was at the store and this guy, I'm like, you look too young. You must have been a baby when you were watching MADtv. But just, you know, the fans who appreciated it, thank you.
And Daniel, where can fans of MADtv find you on social media?
I'm under my real name. I don't have any kind of funny name. Daniele. Sometimes there's an underscore if you're on Instagram, I guess. I'm on TikTok, but I never use it. I've reposted like 5 things, but I'm like, TikTok is work. It's like you have to be camera ready or plan things. Yeah, it's too much work for me.
But you're mainly on Instagram.
I'm on Instagram and I'm on like Facebook and I'm on like Blue Sky and I think I have a YouTube page that once again I just have it in case I need. If there's an all systems go moment,
Okay.
I've got the basic infrastructure there, but I haven't been called
The
to create any
apocalypse is coming?
content.
Pull
Yes,
the
I haven't
trigger?
been. I don't have to like, I got to start from downloading an app.
Okay.
But I definitely, I have the infrastructure.
Nice.
And, you know, it's always changing and evolving. So
Yes.
I don't know. Is my MySpace still working? It's
I'm terrible at it. We've come to the end of the podcast.
Oh, yay. That was
we
fun.
did it. Kyle got to do some edits for me.
Yes, I know.
appreciate-
Thank you. Oh, are you still talking? It's
We're
still
s-
going?
We're still going.
Oh, sorry. Let me shut up then.
Oh, no. I was just getting to the credit portion of Mad Rewind. All right, you guys. Mad Rewind is recorded at the studio venue between the largest IKEA in the United States and the 5 freeway just south of beautiful downtown Burbank. Please visit thestudiovenue.com for all of your podcast needs. Mad Rewind is produced by Dan Holden and Lily Romero, engineered by Kyle and Teresa Tucker, edited by Kyle Tucker, and hosted and executive produced by me, Brandee Stilwell. Thank you so much for spending your time again. I know there's a lot of podcasts out there. There's a lot of things for you to choose from, and you chose us. So I just wanted you to know I appreciate you. Daniel appreciates you. We all appreciate you. Thank you very, very, very much. XOXO, me, bye. Thank you.
It's time for Mad Rewind, Mad